Welcome to JAR Region Session 2. For today's lesson, you are going to need your volunteer guidebook, the table tents that you should have collected from last session, and then you are going to need the resource cards, and then every student should get a flyer. Today's lesson, you're just going to start off by asking the students a little bit about what they remember from session 1. And then we're going to get into this lesson, which talks all about how entrepreneurs have to use the resources available to them to create a successful business. The first thing we're going to talk about is we are going to go over some different areas of the map and what resources are available. So you'll see on the right-hand side, there's a key of all the different types of things that are going to be on our map. You can click on an area to maximize it. So that way you can have students talk about what specific different type of resources are in this area. You can go over as many or as few as you want. I always like to go over our own region that covers South Dakota to talk about how we can see clearly that corn and minerals are our main resources here in South Dakota. But again, you can click on as many or as few regions as you want. Then we're going to get into our vocab words for this lesson. Again, if technology were to be down, there are yellow text boxes within the guidebook that will have the definition for each of your vocab words. For this, I would ask 4 students to come to the board. I would ask the first one, what does it mean to be a resource? What does that mean? Once they give me an answer, I'd click on it to have the definition pull up, and you can have them click on it as well. We really want this presentation to be interactive. I would do the same for capital, human, and natural resource. Then we move into goods versus services. So what is the difference? And when someone is choosing a business, how do they know if they're going to sell a good or a service? Again, I would call 2 students to the board, have one define what they think a good is, and have one define what they think a service is. Then we are going to get into our activity. Now, before we hand out materials to students, there's a few things that you should do before the activity starts. One is you should describe how the activity is going to go before you hand out materials. Next, you're going to have your teacher help you get the students into 6 groups. Then you're going to hand out materials. So talk about the activity and what they are expected to do. Have the teacher get them into groups, then pass out the materials. Once the students are in groups and you're passing out the materials, each group is going to get a resource card. On the resource card, it shows an area of the world, of the United States, what resources are available to them, what capital, human, and natural resources are there. And what they have to do is in their group, they have to try to come up with a business that would be successful in their area. To do this, they are going to use their flyer. You'll see on the yellow side, we want them to draw their advertisement for the business. They have to come up with a name and brainstorm different type of businesses. So if they are not coming up with anything or they're really struggling, there are some examples for each resource card in your volunteer guidebook that you can use to help them come up with a business. But really, we want them to be creative in this because there are millions of businesses that they could come up with for any region. Note that on the back of the flyer is also a map in case they want to go over the resources again of what type of resources are available. That's the majority of the lesson. I would give students at least 15 minutes to work on this project. For students to brainstorm as a group and come up with one idea, to create a name, to create an advertisement, etc., does take a bit of time, and we want to give students that opportunity. Once all students are are done with the activity, and I would really recommend giving them like a 2-minute warning, I always leave time to have every group present their business. So talk to us about what region they had, what available resources did they have to work with, and what business they came up with. Students love getting to share how creative they were. So please make sure you leave time for that. Once you're done, you can just wrap up the main points of the lesson. And then if you have extra time, you can always do the extended learning opportunities that are in this session. I hope you have a great time with session 2, JA, our region.